So with everything going on right now, a video with this title might seem really irrelevant. You might be asking, John, how am I going to actually start booking my first gig if I can't even leave my house right now? Now, for those who might be watching in the future, what I'm referencing right now is the coronavirus that we're all kind of facing right now, where gigs are shut down, venues are not booking, restaurants are closed. Any opportunity the musician might have right now for playing out live is pretty much shot. But I want to encourage you that more than likely this will all end eventually, and I want to give you some information so you can be proactive right now, that you can be doing the research, doing the hard work of at least gathering information, so that once venues and restaurants and all these different pubs and coffee shops, all the opportunities for musicians open up again, you're ready and you've already done the hard legwork of research, that you're ready to hit the ground running and start booking your first gigs. So hope you'll pay attention and dial in, because I'm hoping that this will be some valuable stuff for you that I've actually used myself for booking my first gigs. Now, the first point I want to make in this before we start diving into how you're actually going to start booking your first gigs is that if you are in a brand new area, meaning you're in a place that you just moved to, you didn't have previous family or friends, or maybe a school that you went to there, or a church that you're a part of, I would suggest building up some of your community ties, not first, but simultaneously as you're looking for music opportunities for playing out live. And here's the reason is that, let's say tomorrow, coronavirus is over, and you're able to book your first gig at some awesome pub or coffee shop or restaurant or even actual live venue. You're able to book it, you get the gig, they say, yep, we'll have you play for a half-hour set opening up for this other band. It'll be good for you because you'll be opening up for that other band and gaining fans from their crowd, hopefully, as long as you're a good musician and they like your vibe and you guys have a similar niche. But you are not going to be able to really add any value to that night because you have zero connections. You got zero friends from that area that are going to come out to support you. You don't have any family out there that's going to come out and support you. You don't have any fans for sure in the area that are going to come out and support you. And so you show up, you play your set, and perhaps maybe the band really likes you, but I think you'd move forward a lot more if you were able to show that band and that venue that you're able to bring in what's called draw. Draw is a word that venues and bookers and agencies, all that kind of stuff, use to describe how many people you're able to get through the door, how many people you draw to yourself when you're playing a show. Now, this is important to both bands and venues because they want people who are going to be able to pack that venue as much as possible. This is how bands are making their money sometimes if they're on tour, especially. This is how venues are staying open, is based off of how many tickets they're selling and how many people are coming through the door so they can get drink sales if they're a bar or a pub or anything like that. So how much you're able to bring to the night is really, really important. If booking live shows is going to become a more sustainable thing for you and I, we have to know how it works. It's not just about being a good musician. It's not just about how much a particular venue owner might enjoy your music or how much a fellow band might enjoy your music. It's also about how much money you can make them at the end of the night. There are lots of other reasons, but at the same time, you and I have to understand that that's not necessarily the cornerstone of how the music business works. Music business is just that. It's a business, therefore it's about how much are you able to sell. If you're brand new to your area, you're not necessarily going to be able to sell a whole bunch of tickets. And even if you get a good connection with a venue or a band, you're going to miss out on representing yourself as best as possible by showing them I'm able to get people to show up. If you're good, and if you're able to draw a lot of people through that door, I guarantee you that venues are going to see that. You're going to stick out to them, and they're going to want to book you for more gigs. So that's step number one, is just make sure you're connected in with your community, both inside and outside of music, just so you're able to actually start building a natural, organic following. Your friends and your family are going to be the foundation in the beginning of how you start building a following as an artist or a band. Step two would be to actually get to know your music scene. This was advice that I actually got from a YouTube video that I watched, kind of similar to the one that I'm making right now, when I first moved out here to Kalamazoo, Michigan. I was looking for how to actually start booking shows, how do I get connected with my music scene, because that's a really overwhelming concept, I think, when you're fresh into the whole building a following and starting this whole music career. It's a really overwhelming concept to think about, how do I actually infiltrate this thing that I don't even know what it is exactly. The music scene can sometimes be tucked away, and the connections to be able to know how to get shows and networking, they're not always right there being advertised on a street sign. Oftentimes you make these connections by going to events, talking to people, making natural friendships and relationships. And then as you do that, you just kind of find yourself, all of a sudden you're going, oh wow, I'm kind of on the inside, or at least getting on the inside of my local or regional music scene. So in order to start building up this network, you need to start going to shows. You need to start finding out if there's some friends bands that are playing in your area. If your coworker has an original band or has a cover band and he invites you to a bar show, go to it, because now you've got this awesome thing of somebody that already knows you. It's an acquaintance. Hopefully it's even a good friend, to where you can go out and support them. You can see what venues they're playing at, but you can also get connected with the music scene, and you already kind of have a ticket in because you're cool with the guy who invited you. So make sure you're being a part of your music scene. Go to live shows, go to open mic nights, participate in open mic nights just to get your name out there a little bit. Now, third, this is where it comes to actually booking your first paid gig. Now, I'm sure there are a bunch of ways to do this, but I'm going to give you the way that was actually successful for me. Now, this isn't cheap. It takes some money. It doesn't have to take hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I started off with, I think, about $200 or $300 for my budget. That's what I had to be able to book my first gig. And so I actually first reached out to a venue here in downtown Kalamazoo called Shakespeare's. Reached out to them about using their venue, and instead of coming humbly as a beggar looking for some bread, as an artist that had nothing to offer them, I came to them saying, hey, listen, how much would it cost to rent your venue? I had about $200 to work with, so I figured, okay, if it costs $200, I can rent out the venue, promote the event myself, I pay them, I get to keep all the ticket sales. They then answered that question with saying, well, hey, if you put a bill together and we like it, then we can talk. We wouldn't charge you anything up front. We don't really do the venue rental thing, but if you make a bill that we like, we'll actually partner with you for the event. So just like that, I went from an artist that was begging for crumbs just to get any kind of gig that he could, to actually partnering with one of the major venues in our town, just by having the wisdom to approach it as a business person rather than as an aspiring and hopeful artist exclusively. And so I put a bill together of a band that I'd been looking to work with for a while, as well as some friends that had also worked with this band before. I reached out to the band, said, hey, listen, I can offer you $100 guaranteed. We might be able to talk about some ticket commission, but your guarantee can be $100. They were all about that. They're not this humongous band that was light years ahead of me. They were just a couple steps ahead of me within the local scene. So they're all about, yeah, we would love to have $100 guaranteed and to be able to play a show that is kind of expanding our regional touch a little bit. And so just like that, I booked them. I booked my friend's band for about $50 guaranteed. And I should probably take this moment to mention that I obviously booked myself for this gig as well. Okay. I pitched that lineup back to the venue. They liked it, and just like that, we got the gig. And what we worked out with the venue said, listen, we don't need any upfront fee. We'll just take 20% of all door sales with a cap at $200 or something like that. And so just like that, I went from no gigs to actually booking my first gig at a venue I didn't think I was ever going to actually be able to reach within the next 6 months or year, and it happened in a week. After that, I actually used the same exact method to reach out to a coffee shop that was also looking to start building a live music venue. And so I was able to use the same method. I told them, hey, listen, Shakespeare's is taking 20% commission. Are you okay with taking that as well? And I was able to use the same thing. At the end of that night, we actually walked away with about a couple $100 profit sort of thing, to where after I paid all my musicians and I paid the opening band and I gave the venue their cut, and they actually made good money off of all the coffee sales because we had a lot of people, the community that I had built up over that 2 years, come out to the show to support us. And so just like that, I was able to go from booking no shows and kind of desperately looking for anybody to give me a handout to booking my first paid gigs. So just in review, I think the first step for you is, if you're in a brand new area that you don't have any connections with, is just start making a natural, organic community. And this might just take some time. If you're a Christian, then find a good local church that you're going to go to. For me and my wife, we go to a great church. It's a big church. I interned there for a little while, so I started making natural connections within my community. Start hanging out with your coworkers, not just for the reason of them being able to come out to your shows, but just to have a community and have some friendships there. 2, After you've built up your own kind of personal local community, simultaneously maybe start getting plugged into the music scene. Start paying that $8 to $10 to go see local bands, so you can first of all hopefully discover some great music of saying, hey, this is fantastic, I got some great local music right here in my town. But then on top of that, to also be able to get an idea for who's working within your scene, and to be able to get some ideas of people you'd like to work with in the future. And then finally, if you're looking to kind of kickstart getting your first gig, you've been doing those two things of building your own community, being active within your local music scene by going to shows and playing open mics, and you still haven't landed a gig yet, honestly, just take the reins yourself and make your own gig. If you're making your own gig and you make out the right agreement with the venue or the restaurant, whatever it is that you're using to host that space, you can actually make some great money, and then the chips are all in your hand, and you're able to decide how much everybody gets paid. Be generous, be kind, but also be authoritative about it. I hope this video helps you. I hope it's able to give you some inspiration and some ideas on how to kind of kickstart getting your gig schedule up and going. Like I said, I know right now, if you're watching this in current time, that we're all still kind of in the coronavirus lockdown thing, but I would say some application steps for you would be look up pubs and bars and live music venues within your hometown right now. Get an idea of where are they at if you don't know already. If you do know already, then I would say go to their website, find their contact tab, and start making email lists so you can have a list of contacts that once the doors open back up again for music things and community events to start up again, that you've got a list of 10, 15, 20 emails to be able to, boom, I can reach out to and start booking some gigs once the floodgates open again. And finally, if you're kind of at a loss of, I don't know how to find local things in my town, go ahead and put your questions in the comment section. I would love to be able to give you a hand. Google is a wonderful tool that can be used from anywhere, so maybe I can give you a hand just with finding your local places to be able to give you some ideas of where you could reach out to and start building up your contact list so you're ready to go. So I would love to help you with that. Just go ahead and comment in the comment section about where you live in and if you'd like some help, and I would love to be able to help you out with that. If this video is helpful to you, please like it, leave a comment. Like I said, if you've got a question or if you've got other ideas on how you can book your own shows, I'd love for you to be able to share it with me, share it with anybody who's watching this. Please consider just hitting that subscribe button, because I'll have more content about booking and about the finances, about recording, all these different things, just kind of brand building and music career building coming up on a weekly basis. So until the next video, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you guys are able to keep on growing well.